Have you talked to any pilots, off the record, even off the record? And if so, what do they think about this?
Well, most 747 pilots, and you can say they're prejudiced, but these are people who have flown all kinds of airplanes and daily put their life into, if you want to, figuratively, the hands of the Boeing 747 in flight. I have not talked to one yet pilot of a 747 who believes that the plane came apart because of mechanical failure somehow. Most all of the TWA pilots, and again you can say, well, they're prejudiced, believe that it was some external event that caused the crash. There are some pilots out there who believe that maybe something might have happened, and they point to some events, some military aircraft that blew apart. But there's a difference in that those military planes that blew apart were using a much more volatile fuel than the type of fuel that was used in TWA Flight 800.
That night, people who are watching this thing from the FAA, from the tower tracking this thing on, have any of them had any public statements at all of what they think? Or even private statements?
Well, I would like to get some private statements. The short answer to your question is no. A little bit longer is that the FBI, in the interest of its investigation into potential criminal cause of this, has basically quieted and told everybody, official agencies from the Navy, the Pentagon, the FAA, the NTSB, that they cannot talk about or disclose information because it may somehow mess up the criminal investigation. And now that may be, you know, you may say, well, that is the way it should be, but this is even after, say for instance, where was ship X, Y, or Z, or let's talk to the P3 crew members, or the guided missile cruiser Normandy was mentioned early on, although I don't think it was possible personally that it was involved, but was mentioned as a possible source of a missile. And to this day, you have not seen an interview with the P3 crew that was flying near TWA Flight 800 because the FBI will not allow them to be interrogated. The Normandy crew, nobody from it has been interviewed, nor other ships, because the Navy says, well, it wouldn't do any good, and more than that, the FBI won't let us talk about it.
Let's go back a bit again. You said that the FBI says that they're putting a lid on this so that they can protect evidence.
Yes.
For a criminal investigation. What criminal investigation?
Well,
I mean, they're saying on the one hand, here we've got all this evidence that indicates an internal, maybe even an accidental explosion of some sort set this thing off. On the other side, they're saying, well, no, but we're investigating a criminal act.
Well,
doesn't one kind of contradict the other?
Well, it would seem so, and in some cases it does. In the investigation, the National Transportation Safety Board, as the overseer, they divided it up and said the FBI will look to see whatever, if there was something terrorist or something other than mechanical that might have caused this. So the FBI has that, and since so many things that say where the plane was could conceivably show other information, the FBI says you can't talk about it. Did that answer?
Yeah, it does. It's an interesting thing. We're going from one way to the other and so forth and so forth. But we're coming to the end of this thing. Where do you think it's going to end up real quickly? We got about less than a minute.
Well, I quite honestly, personally, will be surprised if anything comes out by July or August of 1998, which will be more than 2 years after the crash. But they, the NTSB and the FBI, even early on, as much as a month or 2 months after the accident, said, look, given this, given what we have to look for don't be surprised if we never come to
Never.
a solid conclusion of what made this plane fall apart.